Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Addie, and today's video is my April wrap-up. I had an amazing month. Like, truly amazing. Like, it wasn't as par to like January where I read 16 books, but I did read 10 books. And that is a lot compared to the other two. My goal is 8, so I'm very excited that I got through this many. And I have not 1, not 2, but 3 new 5 stars. And I'm picky. I'm picky about 5 stars. I don't just go throwing them around. Like, it has to give me a very certain feeling for me to give it 5 stars. And this month I had 3, which is crazy, and I'm so excited. They're all so good. And I didn't have any book below 3 stars. I only had 1 3-star. The rest were like 4 and above. So good. It's such a good month. So I'm very excited to show you guys the books that I read because I loved like all of them. So the first books I read were Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After. Guys, these books are so amazing. Like, Stephanie Garber, I didn't realize how much I loved her because I read the Caraval trilogy and like I liked it, but I wasn't like in love with it. These books I am in love with. Like, it was just so, the writing was so whimsical and so magical, and it just felt so happy, like undescribably happy and content reading these books. I cried when I found out that I would wait for the 3rd one until October, but that's okay. It's something to look forward to. It's my birthday month. But this one left on such a big cliffhanger, so I'm like, I need to know. So, I don't know. This was my book club book. I rated Once Upon a Broken Heart 4.5, and Ballad of Never Ever got 5. This was a 5-star read. It was so good. I can gush and rave about these books forever. So basically, it's about this girl, Evangeline. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I know it's pretty common, like it's not that hard, but I just can't do it. I think it's Evangeline though. It's basically kind of like a Cinderella kind of vibe. Like, her dad died, and her mom died, and she's lived with her stepmother and her stepsister, and her stepmother's kind of a raging bitch. But she's okay because she's in love with this guy Luce, but I don't know if it's Luce or Luke. I'm gonna go with Luce. She's in love with Luce, but one day he's betrothed to her stepsister, and she's like, what? Like, and then he won't even talk to her anymore. So then she's convinced he's under a spell. And so she goes to the Prince of Hearts, which is a fate, and she asks him if he could like stop the wedding. And he complies, but if you read Caraval, you know, like, dealings with fates, there's always a catch, and always something goes wrong, and then we go through her journey of trying to fix and mend what went wrong, and it basically it catapults the story. And it was so good, and I'm so excited for the 3rd book. This book, even better. And then I read The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This one I was so pleasantly surprised with because I liked The Do-Over, and I didn't love Mr. Wrong Number. It was very, you know, it's like, okay, this is like a rom-com, you know what I mean? Like, it was very average to me, but I haven't read Better Than the Movies, and I think I'm really gonna like that, but I've been like saving it. I don't know what I'm saving it for. Just saving it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try because everyone loves Lynn Painter. And I'm so glad I did because this book so much better than the first one. Like, so good. Like, this is an adult romance of hers, and I'm truly obsessed with this book. I rated it a 4.5 out of 5. It was like a friends to lovers trope, which I love that trope. Also, like, I really enjoyed their time as like being friends. The banter, so perfect, so amazing. Like, I was giggling, I was laughing throughout this whole book. Like, I was genuinely like smiling. So it's basically about this girl Hallie and this guy Jack. They become friends after a wedding, and they're both single now, and so their goal is to help each other find the love of their life, you know, get a romantic partner. So they start doing all these activities together to like try and like find someone for each other. They also have a bet going on over like who will find love first. Like, they bet on something that they both really want for who can find love first. So they're very determined to find love. These might be my favorite reads of the month, it's probably a tie between this and Once Upon a Broken Heart. But I read the Daughter of No Worlds trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. The first one is Daughter of No Worlds. The second is Children of Fallen Gods, and the third is Mother in Death and Dawn. I think I showed you that twice. But these books were so good. Like, it fully cemented me back into my fantasy era. I was so obsessed. So Carissa Broadbent honestly might be a new favorite author of mine. I'm so excited to read her other series, The Serpent, the Wings of the Night. I'm hoping to get to that next month, but I loved this book so much. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I've never had like this sort of feeling with a fantasy other than maybe Sarah J Maas, which it says a lot because I love my Sarah J Maas books. These books were so good though, and also this is her more underrated series, and I thought these were fabulous. So I 100% recommend these if you are a fan of The Serpent, Wings of the Night. It's basically about this girl who is a slave, and she escapes to another country called Ara, one of the two, and she tries to join this organization where she has partial powers for, and she's like, I need your help getting out on my friends. And they're like, well, you know, you're not really a part of the orders, but you can be but you're kind of late for that because they start at a young age. So if you can pass the test with 5 months of training, you can be in and we'll help you. And she's like, okay, fine. She's like, fine, I'll get it done. And so she starts training with this guy Max, and Max kind of wants nothing to do with it at first, but then it turns out there's some secrets that the orders have been hiding, and Max has a very dark past with the orders, so he really wants nothing to do with it. But yeah, it's so good. I think my favorite is the last one. I rated both of these, the first two, I rated this 4.5, the second one 4.75, and the third one 5 stars. I love this so much. Also, Max is unlike any other love interest I've ever seen in a fantasy book, because usually they're like dark and broody and they're and like they're always so grumpy and mean, but like he's a little bit grumpy at first, but like he's still so kind and sweet. He reminds me slightly of PETA if I were to make any like similarities, but like they're not that similar. Like, don't go into being like, oh, this is PETA, but like it's the closest I can think of. But he was so sweet, and like he was genuine. He was like one of my favorite love interests ever, and it was amazing. It was also just so refreshing too. He was just a very breath of fresh air compared to other love interests I've read. The next book I read is kind of funny. Don't make fun of me. It's called Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I picked this up at Barnes & Noble. I'd never heard of it before in my life, but the title intrigued me. Like, Legends and Lattes, like, who doesn't love a latte? So I looked on Goodreads, and it has very good reviews. People are like, it's so comforting, it's so chill. It's advertised as a low stakes, high fantasy. That's exactly what this was. So that was the perfect way to market this. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll save this for just like a little rainy day. And I did, and it was very cute. I read it after I read Daughter of No Worlds because I was still in my fantasy mood, but like I couldn't handle like a bunch of world building or like such like crazy battles and all that. Like I needed a breather. And this delivered. It's literally just about like an orc running her coffee shop after years of, you know, being like a warrior, and she just wanted a break. She wanted to just own her little coffee shop, and it was very cute. It literally was just her running a coffee shop, and I can't even say I was bored because I knew what to expect, but it was so low stakes. So you have to go into this with like a right mindset. I definitely recommend it if you want like something chill after but you want something fantasy. I did enjoy it. I did give it 3 stars because it wasn't anything special to me. It got me through until Children of Fallen Gods came in the mail. I did like it. It was very cute. It was a fun read. That's really all I have to say about it. And then I read one of my favorite books of the month. One of my new favorite romances is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I am so shocked of how much I loved this book. I rated this 5 stars, by the way. I'm gonna preface that. This was my last 5-star read of the month. It was so good, guys. Like, I loved Part of Your World, but I rated it like 4 stars. Like, it was good, but it wasn't my favorite thing in the world. This is truly so amazing, and I wasn't expecting much because, like, I don't know, I was expecting to like it but not love it. And also I have like the Friend Zone that I have been like putting off reading, but now I'm like, I want to read that so bad, and like that whole series. I want to read everything this woman has ever written. It's basically about this doctor, Brianna, who works at a hospital. She's going through it because she just went through a divorce. Her brother is having kidney failure, and she's really going through it right now. And the last thing she needs is this grumpy man, Jacob Maddox, coming in. He's coming in as like a new doctor to this hospital, and she just does not like him. They're not getting along. It's like he has really bad anxiety, but it comes off as being like very aloof, very like dismissive. But eventually he starts writing her letters to be like, hey, I'm really not that bad of a guy. And she's like, and they start becoming friends after that. And she finds out that her brother needs a kidney, and he gives her one. A kidney. That's the standard, low-key. Like, give me a kidney. Give my brother a kidney. I don't have a brother, but if I did, give him a kidney. It's amazing. And then it has like the fake dating trope. It has like sort of enemies. They're not really enemies, but hostility to friends to lovers, which was so amazing. Also, the kidney thing is not a spoiler. It is on the back of the book. I checked. And he's just the sweetest guy. I think this book, what really put it on 5 stars for me though, is that it has really great representation for what it's like to have anxiety, and it also has a really great representation of what it's like to have an autoimmune disease. Like, Abby Jimenez perfectly sums up what it's like for both of it, and I feel like it was just really great representation. For me personally, I don't know if that's like a universal opinion, but like for me, I felt like it had really great representation for both of those things. So that's what really bumped it up to 5 stars for me. There's just so many elements of this book that it all just worked so well together though. It was just like the perfect mix of everything. And Abby Jimenez is like moving up for me of like one of my favorite romance authors, and I did not expect that out of this book. And like, not even in a bad way, it just didn't seem like that intriguing to me, but like it was amazing. I loved it. The next book I read was All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. This was my book of the month this month, and I really liked it. I gave this book 4 stars. It was really good. It was a good thriller. I kind of predicted it. I didn't predict the whole thing. That's actually a lie. I didn't predict it. But I had fishy feelings towards a person who ended up being fishy. So I was sort of right, but not about like the huge twist. It was a really good thriller though. Like, it did keep me on my feet, on my toes. It was about this woman who 1-year-old got stolen from its crib a year ago, and now she's going on like these true crime shows to keep the case from going cold. And she meets this podcaster who wants her to go on her show, but the husband is kind of, they're separated now, and he's dating someone new, and he wants to move on. She wants to find her baby because he's convinced the baby's dead, and she's like, I don't believe it till I see a body. Which I feel like if my baby got stolen, I would literally never stop. So I don't blame her. Everyone was like, oh my god, stop acting crazy, but like, she's not crazy. She also hasn't slept in a year. Like, she hasn't gotten she's taken little like micro naps for like, she'll nod off for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, but then she'll wake up immediately. But she has not slept through the night in a year. So she is starting to question her own sanity. But this book, I really liked it. It was kind of slow in the beginning, but then it really picked up. I really liked the writing style. It had some past and present POVs, which I always enjoy. So yeah, I recommend it. It was a good thriller, but it wasn't the best thriller I've ever read. I will read her other book though. I don't know what it's called, but my mom said it's good. The last book I read this month was Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I loved this book. It's a 4.75 for me. I don't know why. There was just a couple things. It would have been a 5, but there were a few things that kind of annoyed me. Like, there was a kid in this book, but the kid didn't really bother me that much. I don't love kids in books in general, but this one kind of, she said some things where I'm like, kids don't talk like that. She was obviously like used to like move the plot along. Like, kids don't care about their parents' love lives like that much, or at least they don't say some of the things that they do say in these books. like even if they do care. So I don't know how to explain it, but like it did kind of put me off maybe a little bit. And this is a long one. This is a long book. This is the longest of the trilogy. I did think it needed to be this long. Sometimes I think romance books drag. This one, I'm happy it was this length. I thought it was very well paced. This book is about Cal, the last of the brothers, and he's my favorite brother of them all. This is my favorite book out of the trilogy by far, even with the kid, which surprised me because I loved Terms and Conditions. So good. But this one's basically about, like, if you read the books, it's basically like their grandfather died and they have to do, like, they each get specific tasks to gain their inheritance, and Cal's task is he has to sell this lake house that they've had in their family since they were young, because the lake house went to him, but they didn't know it also went half to his ex-girlfriend, whose mom used to work at this house and was a cook. And so it's also her house where she lives with her and her daughter. They dated when they were about 6 years ago, but Cal left because he had some alcohol issues and some drug issues, and he didn't want to bring her down, but he thought she deserved better, but she was furious. So now he's back and he's like, no, I own the house, I'm selling it. And she's like, well, I own the house and I'm not selling it. They call the lawyer and they both own the house, so they basically have to work with each other, and there's a lot of forced proximity, and I love a good second chance, and this was such an amazing second chance trope. Because sometimes second chances are hard, because I'm like, I don't get how you can forgive what they did the first time, or like I feel like too much has been done, too much has been said. But I don't feel like this way. I feel like this was definitely just more of like a right person, wrong time kind of thing. And I loved this. This was such an amazing book. I'm very excited for her. She just announced her next series. It's like the Lake House Billionaires series, I think. But that person like had a tiny little appearance in this book. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be set in the same like lake. This was after like a setup for like the location of her next series, which I'm very excited about because I love Lauren Asher so much. I read the Throttled series like a really long time ago. Like I read the first Throttled like before she did like the revamping of the cover. So my Throttled, like the rest of the series is fine, but like my Throttled like has like the man on the cover. Like that's how long I've been loving Lauren Asher books. So I'm very excited for her next book. And yeah, this one was amazing. I definitely recommend all 3 of these books. And it just got better as it went on as well. Oh, also, the reason I docked it maybe like the 0.25 was a combination of the kid and the ending. It had a certain conflict where I'm like, it was very miscommunication-y. Like I felt like it didn't need to be blown out of proportion as like the girl, like Alana made it to be. Like I get being angry. I was like, I just feel like it didn't need to be this big of a deal. Like sometimes, like in Terms and Conditions, I got why Iris was mad as hell, but with this one I'm like, is it that deep though? Like he had his reasons, you know? So it was just very like she wasn't hearing him out, and it was like if you would have, I think you would have calmed down a little bit. So that was also the other reason, but it was still an amazing book overall. I like read it all 500 pages in like a day, so very good. Well, that was all the books that I read in April. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love doing wrap-ups because especially this month was so fun because I love doing wrap-ups when like I love the books I've read this month. So let me know what books you read this month and if you've read any of the books that I said in the video. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!